Hi there, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for joining me for Bonus Parenting, session number 4. And we're going to deal with some tough issues here. And I'm really glad you're with me. I hope these things are strong enough and full of enough good information that you'd tell somebody to check it out over at YouTube and maybe even subscribe to the place over there so that you'd continue to grow. I've got a lot of topics I want to cover here during our Facebook Live. But today, it is the last day on this whole issue of step parenting and bonus parenting. I want you to be a great, wonderful bonus parent. And I know that that's not going to be possible if you just try it on your own. Okay? So we're going to do the best that we can to provide the very best information that we can possibly give you here. Okay? So let's get started right now. First of all, it's tricky. That's the first thing I want to say. This is tricky. There's some things that you have no control over, and it's really tricky. And so even if you do the best job, you got to remember it's tricky. And so be prepared for the tricks. And you don't want to get tricked. So you have to be on your toes. You have to be aware at all times that it is tricky. Okay, here's number 1. Forget what you know or believe that you know. And come into this with an open mind and an open heart. So to say, oh boy, I got this figured out, I can do this thing, and try to power down on it, it's just not going to help at all. So don't do that. That's just going to be a huge disaster. So you come into it, you know it's complicated. You know that every situation is unique. And you say to yourself, I don't know what I'm doing. I want to do my best, but here's the question. Are you going to fall into this proverb that says, thinking themselves wise, they became as fools? You don't want to do that. You don't want to be a fool. Also, you have to ask yourself a question. Are you coming in to step parenting and blending a family as a professor or as a student? See, the professor acts like he knows everything. And double entendre intended here, and he tests people. That's what a professor does. You don't want to test people. You want to be the student, not the professor. The student, he's the one that studies. He's the one, or she's the one that examines, studies, learns to pass the test. So you want to be a test passer, not a person that is testing everybody in this family and in this relationship. So it's tricky. You want to forget what you know, come in as a student, not a professor, and you're going to be much better off. That's all under point number 1. Number 2 is this: shame, entitlement, control, and fear, or being overly diligent, or just having any kind of lack of authority in this relationship results for compensating feelings of failure. So if I'm trying to compensate for how I feel, like a failure, shame, whatever, and I go into this, then it's not going to be good. And if I lower my expectations on my children because it's such a tough thing on them, and essentially I'm saying I think you're stupid. Low expectations give the message of stupidity and incompetency to kids. So I don't want to shame them. I don't want to entitle them. I don't want to control them or be afraid. I don't want to be overly vigilant or not display any kind of authority, because I don't want them getting the message that I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't think they know what they're doing either. Now, number 3, Since you will be blamed for the divorce or them not getting back together, you better clear all avenues of reconciliation before you get married. You want to be able to say to these kids, I wanted your mom or your dad to do everything possible to reconcile. And when that was not an impossibility, for instance, hey, don't forget, he was already married or she was already married. So we want them to know that we realize they may be thinking that I'm the cause of the reconciliation not happening. But the fact is there was already a marriage or engagement or whatever. Or listen to what your dad or your mom says about the impossibility of getting back together. Just was never, ever going to work. And, you tried everything. I always tell people, go to this marriage intensive that we do at New Life, because if anything could get you back together, it would be that. And so then you can truthfully say to the kids, yours and hers and yours together, we did everything we could. By the way, we don't refer to our kids as hers, mine. They're just ours, our kids. And I also don't ever go by the term dad to them either. Number 4, acceptance is the answer to all my step family problems today. Great quote from the good big book, not the good book, but the big book by Bill W. is acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. So I'm accepting the reality, I'm accepting my responsibility, I'm accepting these kids, and I'm accepting my unique role in dealing with these kids. I'm going to deal with reality and accept that. I'm going to deal with each other, accept them. And I'm going to deal with this unforeseeable future. Great phrase, unforeseeable future, because all future is unforeseeable. So I want to come in here with an accepting heart, looking for reality, not trying to avoid it, and accepting it for what it is, and then trying to develop a plan to deal with it in a really healthy way. Number 5, you have no idea how they feel or what they feel about life until you ask them what it is. You got to be a friend to these kids. You've got to care about them so much that you want to know the feelings that they have, the thoughts, the doubts that they have. You want to have all of this willingness going forward to get to know them, to accept them, to know that insults may come your way. You're not going to take it personally. All of this to help these kids in a totally different way than ever maybe you dreamed of helping them. So you want to ask them, how are they feeling? What are their ideas? What are the things that they want to see happen? What do they think that they're lacking? Number 6, trying harder leads to the marriage dying. Isn't that amazing? You think, well, I thought it was my job to try really hard. You know what? It's your job to surrender. And the harder you try, the worse it gets, the more obnoxious it feels to folks, overbearing, demanding. So you really, really have to back off there. Not trying harder, but praying harder. Not trying harder, but connecting deeper. Not trying harder over here, but building the character in here. Number 7, the ages of the children really do matter. Younger kids tend to be more compliant. It's usually easier for them. They don't understand everything. But sometimes that young child grows up, and once they're at a certain age, they want some answers. They are ready to experience some answers. And sometimes they're angry, and maybe it was 10 years ago that you adopted those kids as your own. So we got to realize. Teenagers, well, a lot of times they hate everybody. They feel responsible for all that's happened. Some of them do. And they want autonomy. They want freedom. And they want to be able to act like an adult. So you don't want to be the thing that's standing in the way of them. They need to honor father and mother with the desires and the habits that they're bringing forth. And you want to encourage them, especially, and let them know you realize this is not easy on them. Number 8's obvious. Don't buy love. Don't try to buy love. Don't fill them with presents and stuff like that. Makes them feel cheap, makes you look cheap, makes you look superficial. Just don't do it. And then if you have any kind of issue, you want to get on the same page. You want to get on the same page. And you really want the spouse's ex to be on that same page too, if at all possible. So here's some 3 things that we really believe are important. Getting the homework done every night. Getting the assignments turned in on time. Showing respect to teachers. So you want to be on the same page as new parents, and then also try to get the other person, the one that was left divorced or left you, to get on that same page too. Number 10. Try to connect with this child any way possible. Don't give up on connecting. Just realize maybe I haven't found the way. Is it cards, board games, sports, golf, movies, online videos? What is it that I could do to get into their world and connect with them? Now, I said I'd give you 10. I think I did. But I'm actually going to give you some bonus ones here. Here's another one. Have a brief check-in every day. Maybe it's at dinner, maybe it's before bedtime, but you just say, hey, I want to check in with you. How you doing? Boy, showing that kind of interest can mean everything to a child who might really be afraid of you and what you might do to them or to mom. Number 12, focus on the needs of the child, not the wants. They need time and attention. They need love and respect. They need structure, and they need rules. And anything other than that is going to cause them to be frustrated, cause them to fail. You don't want to sit there and try to fulfill every single desire or every single wish, all that kind of stuff. It's just going to lead to failure. But you want to meet those needs. Now, here's a really tough one. Number 13. You need to put your spouse first. That's hard. But security comes when they know you guys are a bond that can't be broken. Now, I know you've been with your children much longer than the person that you're married to. And so it's going to be natural to want to put the kids first. And you want to look out for the kids, but you better make that spouse relationship the priority. And it better be there before you get married, or you're really going to be disappointed. Now let's get off of all that serious stuff, and I'll leave you with one bonus, number 14. Develop some new traditions with the new family. If every year both families used to go to the mountains, go to the desert. If every year, there was a tradition that we'd eat in, we'd never eat out, then maybe eat out. I don't know. But be sure that you're sitting down and you're working on brand new traditions. What is it that we're going to do? And maybe we didn't do it in either families, but we want to do it in this one. These are our new traditions. One other bonus point. Combine the names, the last names of the blended family kids, into a name that goes on a crest that's the family crest that combines both of those cultural standards in any ethnic person's background that bring that to marriage, or just the practices that the child experienced in the previous marriage. Bring all that together. Put it into the seal. What do you stand for? What are you fighting for? What's the end result? So you really, the new tradition can be everybody has a different t-shirt with the same seal on it. The new tradition could be the trip that you take rather than staying home. Whatever it is, look for new traditions. Putting a family together is never easy, and we need all the help that we can get, and I hope these 4 videos are going to be helpful to you or to someone that you love. If you need help, you call us. Let us help you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or go to the website newlife.com.